Hey everyone, welcome to this session on React components and props. In this video, we will break down what components are, the difference between function and a class component, and how props help in passing data between components. Let's dive in. So first of all, introduction to React components. So React components are the building blocks of any application. They allow developers to break the UI into reusable, independent pieces, making development easier and more efficient. There are two main types of component in React. The first is a function components. It's a modern, simple, and recommended. And the second one is a class component. It's older, more complex, and less commonly used today. So first of all, we have to see function components. A function component is just a JavaScript function that returns JSX. It's lightweight, efficient, and support React hooks. So here you can see, here is the example, import React from React. Now you can see here we use a function greeting, and here we use a return, and here we use a HTML code like h1, and here we return a h1, and here we export default greeting. Now we see in this in our code editor. Now you can see here is our code editor. Now here we create a file like greeting.js. Now we copy this code from here and paste it here. Now here we create a function which name is greeting. Now you can see here we have a greeting function. Now we save this, and in the index.js we call it. Now how we call that? Now first of all we use import, and here we use a greeting. You can see here is the greeting from greeting. Now here we first comment this react.script mode, and now here is the render. Now we commonly create a function like here we use a greeting. Now you can see when I save this, now what is render here? Now you can see here is render hello welcome to the React. It's totally give me the output what is the function. Now you can see here if we change in here, we use a welcome to Ikra, and we save this. I can see here is the answer, hello welcome to Ikra. So this function simply returns a JSX element, and it's advantage of function component. It's a simpler syntax, better performance, support hooks like use state and effects. Then the second is a class component. A class component is a JavaScript class that extends React dot component. It requires a render method to return JSX. Here is the syntax. You can see here we use a import React, and here we use a component, and here we use a from React. Now you can see here we use a class, we use greeting here, and here we extend a components like render, and here we use return h1. Now here we export a default. We copy this code here and paste it to my code editor. Now you can see here we paste it and we save. First of all we fix this COTS issue and save. Now you can see it's give me a hello welcome to React. Now this class based component work but has more complex syntax. Here you can see why class components are less common now. So first of all, more syntax heavy, and it's require this keyword, and it cannot use hook directly. The third section is our understanding props. Props like properties. So props is a short form of a properties. It's allow components to receive data from their parent components, making them reusable and dynamic. Here what using props in a function component. Now you can see here we create a child component like welcome to JS file, and the child component received from the parent. Now you can see here we import a React from React. Now here we use a function welcome props, and here we give a return value to h1 like props dot name. Here we use a export default welcome. Now first of all we create a here we create a welcome.js. Now you can see here we have a welcome.js. Now we copy this code, and here we paste it, and here we use an import, and we save this. Now we pass the name like from the parent component app.js. Here inside the app.js, here we write code like we passing props. So here we copy this code and paste it here. Now you can see, first of all, we comment this, and here we paste it. Now you can see, here we import a welcome.js. I can see here is the welcome.js. Now you can see here is the functions app return welcome name John, and here we give a props name like name John. Here we give a argument, you can say the argument. Here we remove this code and we uncomment this, and we save this. It's give me a hello John. It's give me a property like John. Now you can see, if we change here, now we gave here Amir and save this. Now you can see it's give me an output like hello Amir. Now the next is alternative using destructing in the child component. So first of all, using destructing for cleaner code, you can see here we use a function welcome name, and here we return a name hello value. Now we pass the multiple props here. Now you can see here we have a function welcome name age cities, and we use a return hello name your age and welcome city. Now in the app.js, now you can see here how can we give that name, return welcome name equals to Ali's age 25 and city equals to New York. Now we simply create a function like welcome name. We copy this, here we use app.js. Now you can see here give me Amit. Now we use a multiple, we gave here multiple props like we use this, and we use this props here. Now it's have name age and city, return h1. So hello you are age, you're old and live in dash city. Now we save this, and in the app.js we use, first of all we gave a name and like Amit, and age, gave a age like 25, yeah 27. Okay, then we take a city, we give Mumbai. Now we save this. Now you can see hello Amir, you are 27-year-old and live in Mumbai. The next is passing props as an object. So first of all, you can see if there are many props passed in as an object. Now we use a constant user. Here we use a name David, age 30 and city Los Angeles, and here we use a function app, and here we gave a return. Now we copy this code. Now you can see here we have a David, age 30 and city is Los Angeles. Now we remove this, instead of, now we use a curly braces. Now we can use a dot, and we use a user. Now we save this. Now you can see here hello David, you are 30-year-old and live in Los Angeles. This method separates the user object into multiple props. Next is using props in class component. In class component, props are accessed using these dot props. So here you can see here we create a class component in a welcome.js, and the class component receive props and display the name. We copy this code and we paste it in our welcome.js file. We save this, and here we use the same logic but a different syntax, and you can see we have a passing props like we have import welcome, and here we import a child component, and here we return a John. Copy this code, paste it in our app.js file. Now we save this. Now you can see here it's a output hello John. Here we use a multiple props in a class. Now you can see welcome extend hello props, you are this dot props and your city. Now we copy this code and paste it in our welcome and save this. Now in the app.js we use this line of code. Now we save this. Now you can see hello Alice, you are 25-year-old and live in New York. So it's the same logic but with a different syntax. The next is a passing function as props. So here passing a function as a props, we can also pass a function as a props to handle events. Now you can see here we have updated JX code. Here we use a function like on click functions on, and these dot props the handle dot click, and here we use a hello and these dot props name. Now we copy this code. Now we paste it here. Now we save this and we pass a function from app.js. Now we use a constant greet user. Here we use a function like arrow function like alert hello from React. Now here we use a return welcome John handle clip greet user. Now we copy this code, paste it app.js. Now we save this. I can see here is a hello John. Now if we click on John, now you can see hello from React. Now if we click on John, the next is props are read only. So props cannot be modified within a components. It's a incorrect example. Here we use here incorrect example. Now if you try to change props, React will show an error. Now you can see here we use a welcome class welcome extend react dot component. Here we use a render, and here we use a this dot props name new name, and here we return a h1 hello this dot prop name. Now we copy this code and paste it here. We save this. Now it's give me an error cannot assign to read only property name of object. Now we use a correct approach. Here we use a import react component. Here we use a class extended component. Here we use a constructor, and here we use a super class props, and here this dot state name props or a name dot props dot name. Now you can see we copy this whole code and paste it in our welcome.js file. I can see here is our code. Now we save this. Here what is hello John. When I click on this change name new name. Now we here we use a new name. Now we use Amir here and save this. I can see here is hello John. I can see in the app.js we use a name like John. Okay, so it's give here a John hello John. When I click on change name, I can see here we use a this dot set state name equals to Amir. When I click on this button, it's changed to Amir. So the next is a function versus component. It's a comparison. So components a quick here is the features. Now you can see, and here is a function component, and here is a class component. I can see here. Now here is the syntax. Now in the function component is simple function, and in the class component it's a ES6 class with render method. And here is the next is a feature performance features. Now in a functions component it's faster and optimized. In a class component it's slightly slower. And the third feature is state management function. In a function component it's use hooks and use states, and in a class component it's use this dot state. And the fourth props handling features. In a function component it's a props parameter, and in a class component it's use a this dot props method. Now in a usage feature, now it's recommended in a function components and older and less common in a class component. So functions components are now the preferred way to write React components. That's all for this session. We cover functions versus class component, props, and best practice. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment. Keep smiling and happy coding. Thank you.